Let's discuss the interplay of dominance and submission when it comes to the relationships between men and women, and especially MGTOW men. Now on to the MGTOW POV for dominant versus submissive women. I'm going to base the discussion on an email I received from a friend who says that he is a strong supporter of men going their own way, and yet is married. And in his marriage, he's the dominant one with a submissive wife. So I was recently at a friend's place where we met an old friend of ours who turned out to be a MGTOW supporter. The funny thing was that he was married, and that he only started believing in men going their own way after marriage. In his marriage, he believed he was the dominant partner while his wife was the submissive one. As the night went on and we shared a couple of drinks, he shared his story with the rest of us and told us that he had a horrible childhood. He had a vindictive and highly toxic mother and two elder sisters who used to bully him. He attended military school, which he remembered fondly, because it was there he discovered authentic leadership and got to know the real truths behind some of the lies that society tells us. He shared that he was now happily married. He was divorced from his first wife for a very long time. After that, when he met his current wife, he wrote her a lengthy letter and informed her that he would never be in a monogamous relationship and that he would never conform to societal norms. That he wanted a relationship where the man and woman were both aligned with their true nature and roles. The man to be the dominant one as the provider and leader, and the woman to be the submissive one as the follower and nurturer. The wife thought about it for quite some time, but then completely and honestly agreed to it, which is why he went on to marry her, because otherwise he would have probably backed out. It's about as ideal a circumstance as he could get. At least that's what the rest of us thought that night. He's now in charge and neither governed nor told what to do. The wife is extremely encouraging. She knows she's provided for, and has a role to play caring for him and the children, where he is the protector and she, the nurturer and the caregiver, basically the heart of the family. She also has a professional degree, so she can support herself without his money. She is well aware of his other submissive female partners and how he has previously thrown them out of his life. She believes that most people are generally unpleasant, regardless of gender, and he has talked to her about MGTOW as well. So guys, this is what I have to say to that conversation and my friend. I can say that I have a history of dominance that dates back to my early 20s and continues into my late 40s. I learned about submissive women because to the growing dissatisfaction that women feel with the positions that feminism has forced them into. They want a man to take charge, make the tough choices, and let them be who they think they really are. When you take the red pill, you learn that most women would rather have a strong male rule over them than a white knight. If you date as a MGTOW man, you will unavoidably change your conduct. Once you realize this, you automatically become more aggressive and dominant, and you treat the bulk of the women you date like babies. Additionally, you will view people for who they really are rather than how you would like them to be. I've learned from everything I've read online and that being dominant or submissive has much to do with being romantically or personally dominating. So rather than feminism and women dictating the boundaries of your romantic connection, you are determining those conditions with your partner or partners. Today's genocentric narratives, however, make the concept of a male dictating the conditions of a romantic relationship completely absurd in the eyes of the majority of women. They lack the social and long-term thinking skills necessary to accept something of this nature. Remember, most women prefer an authoritative male to make the decisions since, in my experience, the majority of women are frightened of making decisions. It might be scary for them to decide where to eat or even which flight to take. Women, in my opinion, desire our affection while also wanting us to reject them. As if we had a switch that we could use to turn love on and off. It is also quite submissive for a guy to kneel down and give a woman a huge and expensive diamond ring. The white knight test must be passed in today's society in order to be married. However, if you do drop down on one knee and give your fiancé a ring, you have already failed the test. Nevertheless, women are socially instructed to accept that men make sacrifices for them and that they should be subservient, despite the fact that a woman's inherent or innate character typically dictates that she should be the one who is submissive. Because you're tapping into your feminine nature and not paying attention to the background noise of what's socially acceptable and what isn't, I can understand why you're receiving a lot of attention despite the restrictions being placed against you. Additionally, you are breaking the rules of established intimate relations. In your situation, the woman who lacks authority benefits entirely when a male assumes leadership and makes decisions for her. On the other side, women also benefit when a man chooses to focus on being a protector and a provider rather than becoming aggressive and decisive. In the past, males were the guardians, providers, and aggressive leaders. However, most males today are urged to treat women with submission and on an equal footing when it comes to the workplace and careers. The actual question, I suppose, is what advantage women have in relationships with men who are emotionally superior to them. My response is that a woman does not need to exercise agency when a guy is in charge and accountable. The fact that the male makes the decisions makes her lack of agency clear. When males make decisions for them, especially when those decisions are wise ones, women tend to gain more self-assurance. The advantage of having a strong, dominating guy is that the kids will have more structure and discipline in their lives, which frequently translates to the kids being more productive in the long run. Those kids who will increase riches or who would appreciate retirement or insurance policy for their mothers later on in life. Most women, in my opinion, aren't mindful of the fact that the caliber of their progeny will benefit them in old life. We spoke extensively about the government, but we didn't speak much about how it provides women with retirement benefits when they get older. The government assumes the role of the father for the kids, and in later life, it steps in to give the financial security that adult children frequently offer. Because the government would eventually assist them, many women in the past had no reason to treat their husbands and child's fathers with respect. But more crucially, because they are aware that the government would provide for them far into old life, mothers lack any real motivation to raise their children correctly. Therefore, since they receive their own money from the government, women are not in need to submit to their husbands or children. All of this was revealed following the suffrage of women. Women had little option but to bow to their husbands and children as long as they were later in life reliant upon them. However, once industrial automation and the social safety net were developed, women were no longer required to remain subordinate to males, despite the fact that their natural predisposition still told them to be reliant and submissive. I believe that women's unhappiness has increased over the past 3 to 4 decades because they are socially required to make important life decisions alone, without the assistance of males. Additionally, you described how awful your home was, how controlling your mother and your 2 sisters were, and how oddly it was military school that raised you well. I'm sorry you were treated like that. But I'm delighted you met a woman who is receptive to you having an open marriage. As civilization progressed, things went rather well, but as soon as the roles were reversed and males became subservient and women became dominating, things quickly began to deteriorate. You also claimed that you were not controlled or given orders, but what I discovered to be intriguing is that women do attempt to control and give orders to men, even if just subtly. Women are constantly seeking an advantage over us males. That has, at least, been my own experience. Women always want to dominate relationships, take on a domineering role, and identify any areas of vulnerability in males. I equate being in a relationship with a woman to participating in a political discussion. While you, the man, has to work at being a politician, your female opponent is always a career politician by nature. Instead, males don't possess the same mental abilities that women have when it comes to twisting our words, but once you master female manipulation techniques, they are all essentially the same since women find it difficult to think of novel methods to deceive men. I believe that many women are opposed to feminism, but they are unable to express this opposition since doing so would contradict the politically acceptable stereotype of women. Women inherently want to submit to men, as they allegedly did during past times. Again, this is like an ongoing debate, and the dynamics of dominance and submission between men and women will keep on evolving as civilization progresses forward. But one thing to note here. So guys, this was the mgtow POV for dominant versus submissive women. What I've learned is that men and women have their roles to play, and the more they are in line with their true nature, the better the relationship between them can become for a stronger and more inclusive, involved and evolved society and community. Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel.